Everyday English listening. Keep listening to English every single day helps improve your understanding and speaking naturally. It trains your ears to recognize words, sounds, and phrases. Daily practice builds confidence, vocabulary, and fluency. Stay patient and consistent. The more you listen, the more confident you'll become in speaking and understanding English fluently. My own way to learn English. Learning English has been one of the most meaningful and challenging journeys in my life. It's not just about memorizing vocabulary or studying grammar rules. It's about discovering the most effective and enjoyable way for me to learn. Everyone learns differently, and after trying many methods, I have finally found my own way that truly works. In this essay, I will share how I developed my personal strategy to learn English, why it suits me, and how it helps me become more confident and fluent every day. 1. Why I wanted to learn English. First of all, I want to explain why learning English is important to me. English is a global language. It's used in education, business, entertainment, and travel. I realize that if I want to explore the world, understand other cultures, and find better job opportunities, I need to know English. That motivation gave me the energy to begin learning and keep going even when I felt discouraged. At first, I thought learning English would be just like studying any other subject in school. But soon, I found that it's much more than that. It requires practice, exposure, and passion. I knew I needed to find my own way to make learning enjoyable and sustainable. 2. Daily listening and repetition. One of the biggest breakthroughs in my English learning journey was discovering the power of listening. I decided to listen to English every single day, even if just for 10 minutes. I started with simple things: English songs, short YouTube videos, and easy conversations. At first, I didn't understand everything, but I didn't give up. I repeated what I heard out loud. I tried to copy the accent, rhythm, and pronunciation. This practice helped me train my ears and my mouth at the same time. Repeating phrases helped me remember sentence structures naturally without thinking too much about grammar rules. Now, I listen to English while doing everyday activities like cooking, cleaning, or walking. English has become a part of my life, not just a school subject. 3. Speaking to myself. Another method that works really well for me is speaking to myself in English. When I'm alone, I describe what I'm doing in English. Now I am making breakfast. I will go to the market. It's a beautiful day. This might sound silly, but it helps me build fluency and confidence. Sometimes I look at objects around me and name them in English. I even try to create short stories or conversations in my mind. This way, I practice using vocabulary and sentence structures actively, not just passively reading or listening. The more I speak, the more comfortable I feel. I have learned that it's okay to make mistakes. What matters most is to keep speaking. 4. Using English in real life. My goal is to use English in real situations, not just in the classroom. So I find ways to connect with others in English. I join online communities, take part in language exchanges, and sometimes chat with foreigners online. I also write comments in English on YouTube or Instagram posts to practice expressing my ideas. Using English in real life makes the language come alive. It gives me a reason to improve. When someone replies to my message or understands what I say, I feel proud. It motivates me to keep going. 5. Watching and reading what I like. I discovered that I learn better when I enjoy what I'm learning. So I choose topics that interest me. I watch English TV shows, movies, and cartoons. I read English books, short stories, or even memes. If something is boring, I don't force myself to study it. I believe enjoyment leads to progress. For example, I love stories about adventure and kindness. So I read English children's books or watch uplifting videos. This makes learning fun and helps me connect with the meaning of the words, not just memorize them. 6. Writing a little. Everyday writing is another important part of my English journey. I keep a small notebook where I write a few sentences every day. Sometimes I write about my day, my dreams, or my feelings. Other times, I write short messages, emails, or even mini essays like this one. Writing helps me think in English. I learn how to organize my thoughts and choose the right words. It also helps me remember new vocabulary and grammar patterns. 7. Learning vocabulary my way. I used to try to memorize long vocabulary lists, but I often forgot the words quickly. Now, I learn vocabulary in a more natural and personal way. When I see or hear a new word, I try to use it in a sentence. I might draw a picture or make a funny example to remember it better. I also group words by theme, such as food, emotions, or travel. That way, I can use them in related conversations. I don't rush. I focus on quality, not quantity. 8. Staying patient and consistent. One of the most important lessons I've learned is to be patient and consistent. Learning a language is like growing a plant. It takes time and care. I don't expect to be perfect overnight. I accept that some days will be harder than others. I try to do something in English every day, even if it's small. A short conversation, a new word, or a funny video, all of these things help me grow step by step. 9. Tracking my progress. To stay motivated, I track my progress. I write down what I've learned and celebrate my achievements. For example, I note the number of days I've listened to English or the new phrases I've mastered. When I look back, I can see how far I've come, and it gives me the strength to keep going. As I continue to grow in my English learning journey, I've realized that learning a language is not a one-time task, it's a lifelong habit. It's not about being perfect, but about improving every day. In this part, I will share more about how I stay motivated, what challenges I face, how I use English in creative ways, and how I keep making progress in my own style. 1. Motivating myself every day. One important part of learning English in my own way is keeping my motivation strong. Some days, I feel excited and full of energy. On other days, I feel tired or even frustrated. That's normal. But I've found little things that help me stay motivated. For example, I remind myself why I started learning English. I imagine traveling to another country, studying abroad, or speaking with people from all around the world. I imagine watching movies without subtitles or giving a speech in English. These dreams keep me going. I also write short positive messages in English like, "I'm doing better today than I was yesterday." Mistakes help me grow. Every word I learn brings me closer to fluency. Reading these kinds of sentences helps me believe in myself. 2. Overcoming challenges in my own way. Learning English isn't always easy. I've faced many challenges, such as forgetting vocabulary, feeling shy to speak, not understanding native speakers, making grammar mistakes, but I've learned not to let these problems stop me. Instead of feeling bad, I try to learn from each difficulty. For example, if I forget a word, I try using a picture, a gesture, or another simple word to explain my meaning. If I don't understand a sentence, I ask someone to repeat it or slow down. When I make a grammar mistake, I laugh about it and fix it next time. I know that mistakes are part of learning, not something to fear. In fact, the more mistakes I make, the more I improve. 3. Creating my English environment. Since I don't live in an English-speaking country, I decided to create my own English environment. I surrounded myself with English everywhere. Here are some of the things I do. Change the language on my phone and apps to English. Use English subtitles when watching TV. Stick notes on my wall with English words or phrases. Set a daily goal like, learn 3 new words today, or speak for 5 minutes in English. By doing these things, I make English part of my everyday life. It becomes something natural, not forced. 4. Speaking English without fear. At first, I was afraid to speak English. I didn't want to sound silly or make mistakes. But I realized that being shy would not help me improve. So I decided to speak more, even if it wasn't perfect. I started small, speaking to myself, recording my voice, or talking with a friend who also wanted to learn English. Then I joined online speaking groups and practiced conversations. Now, I remind myself that confidence is more important than perfection. People appreciate the effort, not just the grammar. The more I speak, the more natural it feels. Learning English is not a race. It's not about being the fastest or the smartest. It's about being honest with yourself, practicing with purpose, and keeping the passion alive. As I continue on this journey, I've discovered more lessons that help me move forward. In this third part of my story, I will share how I use technology to support my learning, how I stay organized, how I turn mistakes into progress, and how I protect my motivation for the long term. As I continue growing in my English journey, I realize that learning a language is not only about mastering grammar and vocabulary, it's also about building confidence, creating habits, and developing a deep relationship with the language. In this part, I will share how I measure progress, how I stay confident, how I use English in everyday situations, and how English has changed my view of the world. This is still my own way, and I keep discovering more about myself through it. My own way to learn English is not about following a strict method or trying to be perfect. It's about listening to my heart, using my strengths, and being consistent. I learn through speaking, writing, listening, reading, and living English every day. I enjoy the process, forgive myself when I make mistakes, and celebrate every small win. If you are learning English too, I encourage you to find your own way. Try different things, be creative, stay kind to yourself, and never give up. Learning English is not just about words, it's about believing in yourself and opening the door to a bigger world. My way of learning English is not perfect, but it's mine. It's built on what I love, how I feel, and what works best for me. I use simple, real-life tools, listening, speaking, reading, writing, watching, and thinking in English to grow a little bit every day. The key is to stay curious, stay kind to myself, and never give up. I hope that by sharing my own way to learn English, I can inspire others to find their own path too. Whether you're a beginner or already on your way, remember that you can succeed one word, one sentence, one day at a time. Conclusion. My own way is the best way for me in conclusion. My way of learning English is unique to me. I listen, speak, read, write, and enjoy English in small, meaningful ways every day. I don't compare myself to others. I focus on progress, not perfection. I remind myself that every step I take brings me closer to fluency. Everyone can find their own way to learn English. What works for one person might not work for another. But when we discover a method that fits our style and keeps us motivated, learning becomes a joyful journey.